In all walks of life, there's always someone that is recognised as doing something better than anyone else, being the best of the best. In the golfing circles, throughout history, Ben Hogan has been that man that we all talk about. He's been regarded as the best controller of his golf ball and the best ball striker of all time. What were Hogan's secrets? Was it his steely concentration? His work ethic, obviously. His cupped left wrist, as he said in Time magazine. His eyes, the ability to judge, see, stare down a shot. His course management and his preparation he put in. The short left thumb on his grip. His right knee drive. His right elbow being bent. Strong wrists. Or we've even heard things such as an extra spike in his right shoe. Hogan really did leave us a treasure map of things to look at to make ourselves improve and be better. His Modern Fundamentals of Golf book explains a lot. He talks about the grip. It's chapter 1. How a good grip, because it's our only connection to the club, is very important. This is a great piece of advice, how he talks about his forearms. He's attaching them to his body in a rotary manner like that. So what he did is he just had his left elbow and his right elbow pointing down towards his hips, as he said, right hip there, left hip there, and he left his forearms in place and just turned his hands over and put them on the grip and kept him nice and packed throughout. Kept the pressures in the correct parts of the body, as he demonstrated here, showing on the inner legs and down the insides of his arms there. His waggle was fantastic and gave him a feel for having those forearms and club face rotated nice and open, so he could use rotary speed to get back into the ball and then beyond. He showed how he didn't go over his right leg, he turned around his right leg with a big shoulder turn. And of course his free ride down, how he talked about dropping the club down into the slot. He said he did it by pulling on his left hip, moving that forward and down, but as we can see, he did a lot of rotation with his forearms and wrists to get that club staying behind him also. His cupped left wrist really helped achieve this because it gave him a range of motion. The cupped wrist, as he dropped into transition, had somewhere to go, and that's what happens right here. As he starts his transition down, the wrist goes from cupped to uncupped and rotating, and the club falls behind him. And that's all very much in tune with his planar glass diagrams that he showed. You can see how open that face is and how the forearms are rotated open and the club gets onto a much shallower path coming down. He may not have looked like this when he swung because he had a lot of force happening in his swing. A lot of pressure going down, forward, but we can see it here and we slow it down. One of his genius moves was to get that free ride down, keep that right elbow tucked. He understood from his early playing that right elbow caused havoc in the swing. And from that shallow, open wristed approach with rotation, he could really supinate his hands into impact. You can see the club and the forearms and wrist being quite open very late in the swing here. So he provided some power from there onwards by rotation, not by just hitting with the hands. He set himself up to deliver that club in a rotational manner with forearms and wrists back squarely into the ball, and that has helped him create his speed with fantastic footwork to boot to support all that. And we can see here the pivot really turns through the ball. The club is staying right in line with his chest, staying grounded with his feet, and he's really rotating hard. So that club is not going off on a parallel line down to the target line, it's staying on an angle, and that gave him more control and accuracy. You can see here how he's already turning through the shot, so he's making the body turn that club through. And that's beautiful extension with the club staying nice and square. There's no closure of that. And as he rotated through, he had no more rotation to give. The club went flying up to this high finish that we see. This may well be one of the best videos you could ever see of Hogan, a slow motion he was doing at a clinic. It really explains what he was trying to feel in the golf swing. So we'll watch it in slow motion here as it runs through first up. So he's just really showing the main feels that he had when he swung a golf club. And we can see here as he goes back, he's just turning around his right leg like it's a post. Big shoulder turn, the right leg is going back. And here's his famous drop that he discusses. You can see it's a very exaggerated move when he does it in these clinics here. And you can see the hip pulling, the right arm staying in, but the forearms and wrists staying very open and rotated right down to that slot. That's when he starts to fire his hands into the ball. That's when he said he wanted 3 right hands. And then he gets to that point, and he understood the pivot then has to take over, so we don't go throwing that club around. So it's very obvious on that video right there, what his intentions of the golf swing were. Obviously it looked a little bit different as he's swinging in full motion, like I said, because of all the pressures being exerted through the body. You need to really take note. You know, everyone talks about his cut wrist and his downward move, but you watch his pivot move on the way through. He had a vicious, brutal pivot move with his torso and his hips and his shoulders that threw the hands along with him, and he used his feet for support of that. You watch how good that turn is right through there. One of the things he didn't mention was flat lie angles. That's his club at USGA House. It's his 1 iron for Merion, and when measured correctly like we've done there, it's 51 degrees. It's very flat. So I think that had a lot to do with the intentions of his swing and coming in from behind him. Made that, having a visual like that, very easy to do. And we can see he resisted the outward throw. He kept those arms quite bent, so the club didn't really go throwing out down the line. It worked more upwards because of the bent arms and the body turning through. So he had a lot of secrets going on. That's only my opinion of it. Obviously everyone can have their own thoughts, but I just thought that was a little bit of insight. All those moves together show us how he really rotated his shoulders level through the ball. Did not get his shoulders steep whatsoever. He turned around through the ball, and the rest is history.